I've been transmigrated, dropped right into a novel, not as the hero, but as the story's most tragic second male lead. I'm the guy who burns through his family fortune for the female lead, only to get dumped at our engagement party so she can run off with the actual hero. The ultimate simp. When I open my eyes, a thunderstorm is raging outside. The female lead is on the phone, crying, demanding I drive clear across the city to buy her favorite boba tea. A voice in my head frantically prods me. Critical plot point. Geo, show her your undying devotion. I glance at my phone's banking app, at the 8-figure balance smiling back at me. Then I look at the deluge outside. Go buy you boba. Why don't you ask me to go play in traffic? I hang up, block her number, and delete the contact. One smooth motion. A simp. Sorry, not my problem. From now on, the only person I'm spoiling is myself. My head was splitting open. I blinked, the ghost of a hangover clinging to me, but a sharp, mechanical voice sliced through the fog in my brain. Ding, the devoted second male lead system has successfully bonded. Host Leo Vance, welcome to the world of the alpha of campus and his angel. I shot upright, my eyes scanning the room. A massive crystal chandelier, floor-to-ceiling windows, and beyond them, a bruised black sky ripped open by sheets of rain and flashes of lightning. This wasn't my cramped studio apartment. This was a ridiculously opulent mansion. I'd been dropped into a book. Before I could even process that, the phone on the nightstand buzzed violently. The screen lit up with the caller ID. Claire, my goddess. Frowning, I answered. The voice on the other end was already thick with tears, a delicate, damsel in distress act that grated on my nerve for reasons I couldn't yet explain. Leo, what were you doing? Why did it take you so long to answer? It was Claire Sterling, the book's female lead. I just woke up, I said, pressing my temples, trying to get my bearings. Sob, Leo, I had another fight with Jax. He's just too much. I'm so upset my chest feels so tight. Claire whimpered, sounding utterly heartbroken. Right on cue. This is where I, the devoted sidekick, am supposed to start comforting her. Sure enough, after a sniffle, she made her demand. Leo, I'm dying for a boba from the Sweetheart Sip on the west side. Can you go get one for me right now? It's the only thing that will make me feel better. I looked out the window. The rain was hammering the glass, so hard I thought it might crack. The news had been warning about a hurricane-level storm making landfall tonight. The west side, from my place in Beverly Hills, that was at least a 45-minute drive without traffic. In this storm, the system in my head practically vibrated with excitement. Ding! Critical plot point love that defies the storm has been triggered. Host must depart immediately. Completion will dramatically increase the female lead's affection. Devotion value, plus 100. Failure penalty, financial misfortune, a guaranteed loss of $1 million within the next week. The system's urging and Claire's sniffling merged into a brain-splitting headache. Just then, a flood of memories, not my own, rushed into my mind. The original Leo Vance, heir to a billion-dollar fortune, was also Claire Sterling's ultimate doormat and emotional ATM. Growing up, he was her shadow, her servant. If Claire pointed east, he'd never dare look west. She wanted a limited edition handbag. He'd camp out all night to buy it for her. Her parents out sick? He'd pull family strings to get them the best doctors in the country. She fought with her actual boyfriend, Jax Ryder. Leo was her 24/7 on-call therapist and wallet. He even fought with his own family, giving up a portion of his inheritance, all for a smile from his precious Claire. And Claire? She soaked it all up without a second thought, stringing him along while throwing herself back into Jax's arms. Always with the classic line, "But Leo, I only see you as a brother." The memories kept coming, and I saw the original story's ending. To save Claire's family from financial crisis, Leo liquidated his own company, ending up bankrupt. And on the day of Claire and Jax's fairy tale wedding, Leo, the stepping stone whose purpose was served, drank himself to death, alone on a frozen city street. Unbelievable. Pathetic. My fists clenched. Why? Why should a guy with billions to his name play lapdog to a manipulative girl who gives him nothing in return? On the phone, Claire's patience was wearing thin. Her crying act subsided. Leo, are you still there? Hurry up. They're going to close soon. She paused, then played her trump card, her voice softening with a hint of blame. Didn't you used to say you'd do anything to make me happy? Why are you hesitating now? I let out a cold laugh, my eyes falling on the nightstand. A Pagani key fob sat there, next to my phone, which had just lit up with a bank notification. Your Premier Trust account ending in 6666 has a current balance of $4,580,000, an 8-figure balance. And this was just my spending account. I looked at the number, then listened to Claire's entitled whining, and a surge of pure rage shot through me. You want me to risk a multi-million-dollar Pagani in a hurricane to get you a $7 boba tea? You've got to be kidding me. The rain's pretty bad. I'm worried my Pagani might flood out. I held the phone, my voice flat and devoid of any warmth. Ms. Sterling, you should probably just call an Uber. Oh, and by the way, make sure to add a hefty tip for the surge pricing. Don't want the driver making the trip for nothing. The other end of the line went dead silent. Claire couldn't seem to process what she was hearing. In her world, Leo was a puppet who only ever said yes. A few seconds later, her voice shot up, shrill and piercing. Leo, what is that supposed to mean? I'm having a bad night, and instead of comforting me, you're worried about a car. You've changed. You were never like this before. She was becoming hysterical, as if my refusal to be her delivery boy was a world-ending crime. Simultaneously, the system in my head blared a screeching alarm. Warning, warning, severe OOC, out-of-character behavior detected. Host must immediately correct his actions and maintain the devoted second male lead persona. Failure to comply will result in a level 1 electric shock punishment. Electric shock? I scoffed. This system was trying to gaslight me. Use my own money, risk my own life, to serve a girl who didn't care about me, and get zapped for noncompliance? I haven't changed, I said into the phone, enunciating every word. I just finally cleared the fog in my brain. I didn't wait for her to finish. I hung up the phone. Block number. Delete contact. Done. Host has defied a direct command, initiating punishment. The moment the system's voice faded, a sharp pain, like a needle jab, shot through my temple. It hurt, but compared to the slow, soul-crushing agony of being a doormat, it was nothing. Is that all you've got? I taunted the system in my head. Running low on juice. Need me to Venmo you a few bucks for a recharge? The system seemed to choke on my sarcasm and went silent. Peace and quiet. I put my phone down and walked over to the massive, full-length mirror. The man staring back was handsome, with a toned physique and the unmistakable air of privilege, though his eyes were clouded with the fatigue of a hangover. This was me now, Leo Vance, and from this day forward, I was living for myself. I opened my banking app and started doing something the old Leo should have done years ago. I ran a search. I wanted to see exactly how much this ultimate simp had spent on Claire Sterling. I typed in her name. The transaction history exploded onto the screen. Valentine's Day gift, Hermes Birkin bag, $40,000. Birthday gift, limited edition Cartier watch, $20,000. Her mom's birthday, jade bracelet, $70,000. Her dad needed a new car, a sponsorship, $110,000. Then there were the countless smaller transfers, a few thousand here, 10,000 there, all labeled whatever makes my baby happy. I scrolled through pages and pages. A quick mental calculation showed that over the last few years, he had spent well over $1 million on Claire and her family. I had to laugh. $1 million. He could have invested in anything, and he chose to throw it into a black hole. The old Leo was a philanthropist to the highest order. I closed the app, took a long shower, and slept like a king. Hell could freeze over before I'd ever play the simp again. The next day, the storm had passed, leaving behind a clear, sunny sky. I took the Pagani, the one I was so worried about, for a leisurely drive to campus. Since I was now a rich kid, I figured I might as well experience college life properly. Around noon, I was heading to the student union for lunch when I was stopped in my tracks right at the entrance. Claire Sterling was standing there, in the most conspicuous spot possible. Her eyes were red and swollen, her face pale. She looked like the star of a tragedy, pitiful and wronged. The moment she saw me, she rushed forward. Students passing by immediately slowed down, pulling out their phones, ready for the show. After all, Leo, the simp fawning over Claire the goddess, was the biggest piece of gossip at Westwood University. Leo, Claire's voice trembled as she confronted me in front of everyone. Why did you block me last night? Do you have any idea how long I waited for you? She stared at me, her eyes welling up, as if I were a heartless monster who had abandoned her. You need to apologize to me, she declared, raising her voice to make sure the growing crowd could hear. The onlookers started whispering. Here we go again. I could hear them say, Leo's about to start begging for forgiveness. I stood there, hands in my pockets, calmly watching her performance. When she was done with her tirade, I finally spoke, my voice casual. Apologize? Sure, I can do that. Claire's eyes lit up. She thought I was reverting to form, back to the obedient puppy she knew. I smiled, but before I apologize, you need to pay me back. The look on Claire's face froze. What money? I started counting on my fingers. Last month, that limited edition Chanel bag you just had to have. That was 70 grand. And a year before that, when you said your parents' commute was too hard and had me buy them that new Mercedes G-Wagon, that was 200 grand. Altogether, that's $270,000. But since we've known each other for so long, I'll forget the change. I pulled out my phone, opened my Venmo app, and held the QR code up to her face. So what'll it be? Transfer or a wire? I take Zelle too. The entire area erupted in gasps. The crowd's expression shifted from amusement to utter shock. Claire's carefully crafted image as the untouchable campus angel shattered into a million pieces. Her face was as white as a sheet, her lips trembling. She couldn't get a single word out. The air in front of the student union was thick with tension. Claire stood frozen before my QR code, her face chalk white as the murmurs of the crowd morphed into a storm of judgment. The angelic reputation she'd spent years cultivating was being publicly dismantled by me, piece by piece. Warning: female lead's resentment value is skyrocketing. The plotline is severely deviating. The system is attempting to course correct. The alarm bells in my head were deafening, but all I felt was a deep, satisfying calm. Just as Claire looked like she was about to collapse, a tall figure pushed through the crowd. Claire, the story's hero, Jack's rider, had arrived. He yanked Claire behind him, glaring at me with the possessiveness of a junkyard dog. His eyes were filled with a mixture of contempt and disgust. Leo, have you got no shame? Jack sneered, his voice low but carrying enough to be heard by everyone. Asking for money back that you spent on a girl? If you're that broke, you shouldn't have been flashing cash in the first place. It's pathetic. His tactic was clever, shifting the narrative from Claire owes Leo a fortune to Leo is a cheapskate. A few students in the crowd started to agree with him. Yeah, seriously, you can't ask for gifts back. What's got into Leo today? I looked at Jack's self-righteous face and chuckled. In the original novel, he built his entire heroic persona by constantly putting me down to prove how much he truly loved Claire. You feel that bad for her? I pocketed my phone, my hands back in my pockets, as I studied him with amusement. Jack's jaw tightened. Claire's the only one for me. Of course I've got her back. Unlike some people. Perfect. I cut him off, my tone breezy. She owes me $270,000. Since you love her so much, you can pay it for her. You pay her debt, and I'll disappear. I won't ever interfere with your epic romance again. I pulled my phone back out and shoved the Venmo screen in his face. Well, go on, Campus King. You paying or not? Jax's face turned a deep, blotchy red. His family was comfortable, upper middle class at best, but they weren't in the same universe as my family. There was no way he could cough up $270,000. This is extortion, he sputtered, cornered and furious. It's all documented in my bank transfers. How was that extortion? I looked around at the crowd. Let's be real, people. Paying your debts is just basic decency, right? Don't tell me you can't cover it, Jax. What happened to all that big talk about protecting your girl? Jax was so flustered he couldn't speak, his fists clenching and unclenching at his sides. Behind him, Claire looked even worse. She had clearly just realized her heroic boyfriend didn't have the power to save her from this humiliation. I was done with them. I turned and walked away, leaving the chaos behind. The story spread across campus like wildfire. Unsurprisingly, I got a call from my mother that afternoon. Claire had obviously run home to tattle, and her parasite parents wouldn't miss a chance to complain. Leo, what is wrong with you? Your aunt and Uncle Sterling just called, saying you made Claire cry in front of the whole school. You're a grown man. How could you bully a young woman like that? My mom's voice was sharp with disapproval. In the original script, my parents, who were old family friends with the Sterlings, would always chew me out and force me to go apologize. Mom, just relax, I said calmly. I just sent something to your email. Take a look at it with Dad, and then we can talk. What is it now? More of your games. I hung up, a cold smile on my face. I had sent them this Simp ledger I'd compiled overnight, an itemized list of every cent I'd spent on the Sterling family, down to the last penny. I also attached the recovered chat logs from Claire's phone, which not only included her lovey-dovey messages with Jax, but also proof that she was stringing along several other backup guys. 10 minutes later, my phone rang again. It was my dad. His voice was tight with suppressed fury, but it wasn't directed at me. Son, you've been wronged, he said, his voice heavy. The Sterlings had gone too far. Did they really think they could treat the Vance family like their personal piggy bank? I could hear my mom in the background. That Claire Sterling. She looks so innocent, but she's so manipulative, juggling all those boys at once. Son, you did the right thing, my dad concluded. Our family wants nothing to do with a woman like that. And that money, we're getting every last cent back. With my family on my side, I had no more loose ends. But the system wasn't about to let me escape the plot that easily. The next day, I was in the middle of a workout at the gym when the system's voice echoed in my head, more serious than ever before. Ding, mandatory main quest triggered. The ultimate sacrifice. Quest description. The Sterling family's company is facing a catastrophic financial crisis and is on the brink of bankruptcy. Host must use his family's influence and spare no expense to help them weather this storm. This is the second male lead's key moment of devotion. Failure penalty. Annihilation. Annihilation. The system was finally showing its teeth. I wiped the sweat from my brow and smirked. It could threaten to erase me from existence. I still wasn't going to be their stepping stone. Right on cue, my dad called and asked me to attend an emergency family meeting that evening to discuss the Sterling's request for a bailout. That night, in the top-floor boardroom of Vance Industries, the mood was tense. My father sat at the head of the table, flanked by our family's core board members. Sterling Enterprises has a massive liquidity problem, my dad began, rubbing his temples. Old man Sterling came to me asking for a $30 million capital injection to help them stay afloat. He looked directly at me. Leo, what's your take on this? All eyes in the room turned to me. In their minds, I was still the lovesick fool who would do anything for Claire Sterling. I opened the folder in front of me. It contained a financial analysis of Sterling Enterprises that I'd commissioned that afternoon. My opinion, I stated firmly, is that we don't give them a single dime. The room buzzed with surprise. I pushed the report into the center of the table. Their financial hole is at least $80 million deep, and I have concrete evidence of embezzlement and accounting fraud. Investing now would be like throwing money into a furnace. My father's expression grew grim. He knew that for all my past foolishness, I had a sharp eye for business. The Sterlings are trying to play us for fools, I concluded coldly. The meeting's outcome was a foregone conclusion. The Vance family officially declined to help. Afterward, I caught up with my dad. Dad, that $30 million in liquid capital we have set aside. Don't let it just sit there. Oh, you have an idea. I handed him another proposal. I've been eyeing a startup in the renewable energy sector. The initial investment is exactly $30 million. Here's the business plan. I believe we can see a return within 3 months. Better to invest in my own future than to throw money at a family of ungrateful leeches. My dad took the proposal, and as he scanned the pages, his eyes lit up with approval. Warning: host has severely violated the character profile. The plot has completely collapsed, initiating punishment protocol. ZZZZ, BZZ. The system's voice crackled with static, then went completely silent. I walked out of the corporate tower, feeling lighter than air, looking up at the star-filled sky. Claire Sterling, Jack's writer. Your nightmare is just getting started. The Vance family's refusal to provide a bailout was the final nail in the coffin for Sterling Enterprises. In the cutthroat world of business, weakness invites predators. As soon as word got out that their funding was gone, banks called in their loans and partners pulled their contracts. Overnight, the company was facing total collapse. Jax, for all his main character energy, was just a college student with a decent but unremarkable family background. Faced with tens of millions in debt, his bravado was useless. All he could do was rage impotently. My phone, which had been blissfully quiet, started blowing up again. The number I had blocked began sending a relentless stream of friend requests on every social app. The messages evolved from Leo, stop being childish, to Leo, my brother, I need you. I ignored them all. Claire was finally realizing that her true love, Jax, was worthless when faced with actual problems. She now saw me, the backup plan she'd always taken for granted, as the only one who could save her. She started sending me long, rambling text messages. Leo, are you still mad at me? I know I was selfish before. I took your kindness for granted and I hurt you. After being with Jax, I realized he doesn't understand me at all. I've been thinking so much these past few days, and I know now that you're the one I've always relied on. My family's in trouble, and I'm so scared. Can you please come see me? I miss you so much. The messages were endless, each one more desperate and emotional than the last. If I didn't know who she really was, I might have actually been moved. I was sitting in the office of the renewable energy company I'd just funded, reviewing the latest progress reports. I glanced at the texts and sneered. You made your bed, now lie in it. The dormant system in my head suddenly resurrected itself, its voice trembling with excitement. Ding! She's coming back to you. She regrets it. The great groveling plotline has been activated. Go and take her back. This is your chance to showcase your devotion and win her heart for good. The system was practically begging me, as if it was terrified I'd miss this golden opportunity to be a chump. Right, got it. I texted back to Claire. She replied instantly. Leo, you finally answered. Where are you? I'll come to you. I replied, busy with my new investment. No time. The system shrieked. Host, what are you doing? You're supposed to rush to her side, comfort her, and solve all her problems. I ignored it and put my phone on silent. Help her, sure. As soon as she pays me back my $270,000. The energy project was a massive success. The initial test results were phenomenal. To celebrate, I chartered a private yacht and invited the project team for a weekend getaway. The sea breeze was cool. The champagne was colder. Leo, your instincts are unreal. I heard the valuation on that energy startup has already doubled, said a rising young actress I'd invited along. She was a breath of fresh air, smart, ambitious, and far more interesting than Claire's bland, damsel-in-distress persona. She raised her glass to me, a playful smile on her lips, and her perfume was intoxicating. I swirled my champagne, watching the sunset paint the ocean gold, feeling a deep sense of peace. Just a small venture. I pulled out my phone and snapped a picture of the two of us clinking glasses on the deck. In the photo, she was laughing, the sky and sea a brilliant backdrop of blue and gold. It screamed luxury and leisure. I opened Instagram and posted it. Caption, busy seeing the world. Do not disturb. I made sure my profile was public. I knew Claire would see it. The system in my head let out a howl of pure despair. Host, you can't be with another woman. Your entire purpose is to be devoted to the female lead. You can only love her. Shut up, I thought back calmly. My devotion is expensive. She can't afford it. That Instagram post was the final blow to Claire and Jax's already fractured relationship. I can only imagine the look on her face when she saw it. Sure enough, less than half an hour later, a friend from our mutual social circle forwarded me a video from a group chat. Leo, you're a legend. You have to see this. Claire and Jax are having a full-blown screaming match at Azure in Beverly Hills. The video was shaky, filmed by another diner. Claire had lost all of her angelic composure. She was on her feet, pointing a finger in Jax's face like a common shrew. Look at Leo, Jax. Look at him. He's on a yacht, living his life. And you, what do you do besides talk big? My family is going bankrupt, and you can't do a single thing to help. Jax's face was a mask of fury, his pride shattered by the public humiliation. He shot back. Oh, so now you want him. Weren't you the one who said he was nothing but a pathetic follower? Don't be such a gold digger, Claire. Are you trying to crawl back to him now that you see his money? A gold digger? You're damn right I am. Better than being with a useless, broke loser like you. Claire grabbed her water glass and hurled its contents into Jax's face. The fight spilled out of the restaurant and onto the street, a spectacle for everyone to see. In the original novel, they were the perfect couple, a swoon-worthy romance. Now, because I had checked out, their love had been exposed for the shallow, transactional thing it was, devolving into a trashy, toxic mess. I closed the video and drained my champagne glass. This show, I thought, as the sea breeze washed over me, is way better than anything the system had planned. The Sterling family went bankrupt even faster than I'd anticipated. My outpost didn't just destroy Claire and Jax's relationship. It sent a clear signal to our entire social circle. The Vance family was done with the Sterlings. Desperate people do desperate things. In a last-ditch effort to secure some funding and save face, the Sterlings hastily announced an engagement between Claire and Jax. On the day of their engagement party, I happened to be having dinner with my project lead at the revolving restaurant atop the very same hotel. Through the panoramic windows, I could see the pathetic trickle of guests arriving downstairs. The scene looked less like a celebration and more like a wake. "Mr. Vance, I hear the Sterling Ryder engagement party is downstairs," the project lead said, pouring me more wine with a knowing smile. "Though I also hear the Ryder family's contribution won't even cover the interest on the Sterling's debt." I swirled my glass, saying nothing. They had dug their own graves. Halfway through dinner, my phone rang. It was an unknown number, but I knew exactly who it was. "Leo, where are you?" Claire's voice was hoarse and broken, nearly drowned out by the noise in the background. "What is it?" I asked, my tone indifferent. "I'm outside the revolving restaurant at the Grand Astoria. Can I please see you? Just for a minute, I'm begging you." Her voice was a desperate plea, thick with tears. I hung up and walked out of the private dining room. On the terrace outside the restaurant, I found Claire. She was wearing an expensive white engagement gown, but her makeup was a mess of tear-streaked mascara. Her hair was disheveled, and the hem of her dress was dirty, as if it had been trampled. She was a complete wreck. The moment she saw me, her eyes lit up with a manic joy, like a drowning person spotting a lifeboat. "Leo, you came. I knew you wouldn't abandon me." She tried to run towards me, but her high heel caught, and she stumbled, collapsing right at my feet. No, not at my feet. She was kneeling before me. "Leo, save me. Save my family." Claire clutched at my pant legs, her face tilted up towards mine as tears streamed down her ruined makeup. "Jax is useless. He can't do anything. Everyone at the party is laughing at us." "I was wrong, Leo. I was so wrong. I've always loved you. Jax was just a stupid game to make you jealous." She was sobbing hysterically now. "If you save my family, I'll call off the engagement right now. I'll marry you, Leo. I'll do anything you want." How ironic. This was the moment the old Leo had dreamed of his entire life, a moment that never came in the original story. In my mind, the system was cheering a deafening roar of triumph, as if it had just won the lottery. "Ding! Congratulations, host! You have unlocked the hidden achievement, the great groveling. Final mission. Accept the female lead's repentance, save her family, and fulfill your destiny as the Devon-corroded second male lead. Reward, the female lead's true love." The system's voice was practically breaking with excitement. I looked down at the kneeling woman at my feet. Her face was full of desperate hope. She was certain I was about to melt, to pull her into my arms and promise her the world, just like I always had. I slowly pulled my pant leg from her grasp, took half a step back, and brushed off the non-existent dust. "Ms. Sterling, I think there's been a misunderstanding." I looked at her, my eyes as cold as ice. "I'm not interested in recycling someone else's trash." Claire's sobs stopped abruptly. She stared at me, her expression shifting from hope to horror. "Leo, what did you say?" I replied with a small, cruel smile, that I don't want something that's already been used and discarded. "And another thing, don't forget you still owe me $270,000. I turned and walked back into the restaurant, closing the door on her agonized screams. The system let out a final, piercing shriek in my head. "Host, you're insane. You rejected the female lead. The plot is destroyed." The end of the Sterlings was swift and absolute. The engagement party turned into a spectacular disaster. Humiliated beyond repair, Jax publicly broke things off with Claire, the two of them screaming curses at each other, tearing away the last shred of their dignity. Sterling Enterprises was officially declared bankrupt and entered liquidation. I didn't kick them when they were down. I simply attended the asset auction and acquired the company's most valuable core properties for a fraction of their worth. It's just business, after all. As for Jax and Claire, I heard they went their separate ways. The massive debt was now Claire's burden to bear for the rest of her life. And Jax, a laughingstock in our social circles, quietly left the city in disgrace. The moment I signed the final acquisition papers, a mechanical, cold, and utterly defeated voice echoed in my head. Plotline completely collapsed. Host has terminally deviated from character profile. System initiating mandatory unbinding. BZC unbinding successful. After a brief wave of dizziness, I felt a profound sense of lightness. The voice that had tried to control and manipulate me was gone for good. I was finally free. 3 months later, the Maldives. A private island. The fine white sand glittered under the sun, and the ocean was a perfect translucent turquoise. I was reclined on a lounge chair under a large parasol, sipping chilled champagne. My new executive assistant was giving me an update. Mr. Vance, the renewable energy project was a resounding success. The market response has been incredible. Your net worth has tripled since the initial investment. I waved a hand, signaling that I'd heard enough. My phone buzzed with a news alert from back home. Fallen socialite Claire S. reportedly working 3 jobs to pay off family debt. Dream of riches ends in tears. The article included a blurry photo of Claire in a convenience store uniform, bent over, wiping the floor. She looked haggard and old, the ghost of the campus angel completely gone. I put my phone down, gazed out at the brilliant blue water, and took a long drink of my champagne. The cool liquid was crisp and refreshing. Being a rich guy who only cares about himself, I said out loud to the ocean, a grin spreading across my face, is pretty damn great.